to our meta thoughts and unlocks. Before I get into the hot button topic of Deadpool's Diner, I do want to talk about my Gore Mr. Negative experience. I was like, I'm going to get this deck to work. People are whipping me on it. I'm going to be able to get this thing to work and do great with it. I couldn't do anything. I could not get this thing to win, and I don't know why. I probably didn't play it long enough, really, to be honest. I probably should have gave it some more time, but I got so aggravated. I was like, I'm done. It burned me to no end because I would always get Gore in my hand and then draw Mr. Negative. So I wasn't having a very good time doing that. Did see a lot of Destroy out there. I played a lot of Deadpool's Diner when it was available. As far as decks go, I mentioned that I had a deck with, oh my goodness, I had these cards that I'd got with the new season, and I wasn't using them very often. I was still using my Reddit C3 deck. So for some reason, that was giving me at least the best opportunity to win. Playing Deadpool's Diner, I wasn't switching very much. I had a Sarah Surf deck that I'd talked about before. Wouldn't have much luck with that. So as far as my experience with Deadpool's Diner, it was a slog, a very slow, just, I think what bothered me the most, I hated seeing the out of Bubs window that popped up.
That bugged a lot of people.
Burned me so bad because now I'm like, okay, I've got to wait an hour to come back to play this stupid game, and I could lose it all again within 1 or 2 games. Now, granted, you could pace yourself, but once you start hitting like the gap that I got stuck at and was done was the gap between 400,000 and 2 point whatever million. I got to 2 million at one point, but could not get past that. My Bubs were only refilling up to 600K max. So I started doing the math and I was like, I've got to win 5 games in order to advance here at 400,000 apiece. I would look at my trend with the deck that I was using. I'd be like, there's no way. Because I never won. I feel like I never won more than 3 in a row. I was always dropping back. Then, you come in there after losing all your Bubs or whatever, you go back in there, you play one game, they get maxed out to 800 and some thousand because the other guy's snapping. I have never lost so many games because of one stinking point. Deadpool's Diner drove me up the wall. There was one game that made me go, okay, I'm about done with this whole thing. I am so upset. I was upset about Destroy. And Destroy was making me so mad throughout this whole experience that I started playing my anti-Destroy deck, which has Shadow King in it. The whole point of that is to get Venom, who's buffed to like 17, down to a 3 again, or just to make people mad, or turn the tables on some of these people that have their stuff pumped up. So I'm facing, I can't remember specifically what I'm facing, but all I know is that this person on the right lane has a few cards that are really pumped up, and I've got Shadow King sitting in my deck, and this person's they've snapped, I've snapped, we're at max snaps or whatever. I'm like, okay, I'm going to win this. I'm going to lay down Shadow King. I'm going to bring these cards back down. The problem was on the left-hand side, left lane, I have Dark Dimension sitting there. And everything reveals. I'm like, I've got this. And lo and behold, this card made no sense in this deck that I was playing against. He had Luke Cage.
Luke Cage always makes sense in every deck.
I was so like, why? And then right after that, you're out of Bubs. And spend 9 billion gold to get more Bubs. Like, how about I don't? How about I go ahead and go back to sleep? That sounds like a plan because I'm tired of playing this game. I'm tired of being mad at it. And, I think that's probably, if there's anything that I can say that is that I could say bad about Deadpool's Diner, it's that it's not a satisfying experience. And you've talked to me and you've been talking this game for well over a year, more than that, 2 years, whatever. But we've been talking about this game for quite a while. And I get a little aggravated with it sometimes. Deadpool's Diner does not help that. It is not high voltage. It is not fun, especially when you have to, when you lose, you can't continue to play. That's what I think stinks about it. I think that's why it leaves a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. They can't continue to play a game that they like. And the rewards don't have to be unbelievably great. Make it something that if you lose, okay, that's fine. You may get set back a little bit, but picking up the game an hour later, it's kind of like, oh, hey, I've got to go back in and start playing again. And then to lose it all in one shot and be set back. I think that's what really bothers people is that you are set back and you have to wait another hour to play the game. That doesn't leave a good taste in anybody's mouth. That's my best explanation as to why I did not like Deadpool's Diner. And I honestly think I could have stuck it out and got King Eitri if I wanted. But there was a point where I was just like, if I do this and I continue and don't stop myself, and it's a situation where I cannot grind and get King Eitri, I'm going to be even more upset at the game. Like, because I tried and just couldn't do it. Instead, I quit, which is not a lesson I would impart to my sons. You want to tell them to keep grinding it out. The thing is, you get to a point where you're like, well, is it worth it? Do I need King Eitri? Is he that great of a card? Do I think he's going to change the game that much? And what I ultimately ended up on was just like, no, I don't want to sit here and try to continue. I don't think the card's worth that. And I know there's going to be even more aggravation as I've tried to push forward here. I stopped short. I did not get King Eitri. I did not like Deadpool's Diner very much at all. So your experience with the meta, sir.
I sent you my negative Gore deck. I did get it to work. That's what pushed me through on Deadpool's Diner.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I got it to work pretty well. I did not hit infinite this season. My streak was broken. I got to 90 pretty quick, and then I got slammed back down to 80.
Ooh.
I might have even I felt like I had some good decks, so I couldn't build much momentum with them.
Huh.
Now, like I said, Deadpool's Diner didn't bother me that much. I usually didn't burn all my bubs. I wasn't jumping to the next one, so maybe that's a strategic flaw of mine, or maybe that helped me not get as frustrated with it. I did run out sometimes, but at that point I was like, okay, well, time to do something else. It did not bother me that much. I saw plenty of people getting frustrated with it, and I wasn't discounting their experience, but I didn't really have the same experience.
Okay, well, that's good. I mean, that's fine.
So yeah, like I said, the negative Gore deck worked pretty well for me. Oh, I got back into trying some stuff with Havoc. I have a Surfer deck where the highest cost card is Absorbing Man, on a Marvel Boy. And, the idea being that, hey, if you get around to turn 3, you can drop Havoc in there and really build him up. That was fun to try. What I got into after trying Fenris Destroyer for a while is a deck I called, because it's about giving people unwanted gifts.
What is it called again?
Cole.
Nice.
It has Destroyer, Viper, and Fenris, but I also thought, what about Havoc? I like Havoc, but if you get Havoc and you don't want Havoc, that can be a problem. Sometimes if you have Havoc and want Havoc and you don't think it through when you play him, it messes you up. I know there was one game where Oscorp Tower was revealed. I can't remember if it was Oscorp Tower or Castle Zemo, but I dropped Havoc right on there over my opponent on turn 2 or 3, and they retreated instantly.
Nice.
Part of that is I had Silver Samurai in there, so he could take Havoc out. Unfortunately, when you also had Viper, she could just Viper Havoc right over in case the stars didn't align for Fenris to work. So that's worked a couple times. But then what I also did, in case you can't Viper Fenris over, you can use him for yourself. I have Shang-Chi in there, but Shang-Chi is also a little bit of insurance in case the Fenris thing doesn't work. I was playing a friend of mine, and he was messing around with a negative Gore Surfer deck.
A negative Gore Surfer.
So I saw that and I'm like, oh man, that's pretty cool. He knew I'd been trying the Fenris thing. At one point, he had used magic. So he had a turn 7. The stars kind of aligned, but I played it a little too early. I had discarded Destroyer with Lady Sif, had Fenris down there, played Viper, activated Fenris. Destroyer comes up, wipes out his other 2 lanes, but there were still a couple turns left. I'd done it a little earlier than I should have. So he had Destroyer and the cards that were there, and another lane he was building up. On the 7th turn, I played Shang-Chi and took out Destroyer too.
Nice.
I gave them Havoc, and they built Havoc up, and then I took him out with Shang-Chi. So it's not like a great deck, but it's also not just solely dependent on having everything fall into place. You can win without pulling the Fenris trick. I've got Cosmo and Zero in there to shut Destroyer down and just let me have the power. So I've got both of them in case it doesn't work out. I've got Gladiator and Silver Samurai. The other thing that messed my friend up is I had Silver Samurai. Even though Gore shows you how many points you would have if you played him, he still counts as a -1 until you actually play him.
Oh,
so
really?
Silver Samurai took Gore out 2 or 3 times, and a couple of those times I brought him back on my side with Fenris. So I won that game, and he texted me. He's like, "Well, I'm deleting that deck," and I'm like, "No. This deck just got lucky. It wasn't a bad deck. This deck was just uniquely suited to mess it up."
Right. Wow.
So yeah, that was not very fun for him, I guess. But I was like, "Hey, this deck's pretty good," and then it's not that great. But it's a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Not super effective. I tried it a couple times in Conquest. Didn't really get anywhere. But it's a fun deck.
Okay. Nice.
So I guess I should share it for listeners. Silver Sable, Selene to make Havoc even worse, Zero to keep Destroyer in his place, Havoc, Fenris, Cosmo, Viper, Lady Sif to make sure you actually do take out the Destroyer, Shang-Chi, Silver Samurai, and Destroyer.
Nice. Very nice. I see Gladiator in there.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't take somebody out and put Stature in there as long as you got Silver Samurai.
Oh, good point. Yeah, that'd work.
Who you'd take out, because I like having Gladiator in there as a low-cost, high-power thing, and he destroys another card that Fenris might be able to grab for you if you decide to keep him.
True. Wow.
I don't know, maybe taking Selene out.
I like her worsening Havoc. I kind of like that.
Yeah. Well, or maybe Silver Sable, put Stature in there. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not going to claim for a second it's a very good deck, but it's a fun.
Okay. Well, that's all that counts. All right. Anything else on the meta before we get into unlocks?
No, I think that was pretty much it.
All right. I'm going to let you go first here with your unlocks. What'd the unlock situation look like?
Let's see. I started off with a steampunk Forge. It's kind of weird. Just looks like Forge in a recliner with a gun. A tank recliner. It looks like Forge is a Reaver.
Oh.
I got a Noir Crossbones, Dan Hipp Black Bolt, the Hearth variant of Scarlet Witch, which just looks like Wanda and Casual Friday at Avengers Mansion. a long coat instead of a cape, and it looks like she's kind of chilling out. Luchador White Tiger.
Nice. I like the Luchador.
For that full Luchador deck. Got a Ink Split Living Tribunal, which that's the original. I think I've got a Dan Hipp Ink Split of him. I keep trying to get a gold split. No luck yet. Then I dropped 1,200 gold on a Jean Grey Hellfire Gala variant, only to realize that I wanted the Jean Grey Art Germ variant. The Jean Grey Hellfire Gala variant is one of the less ridiculous, better looking Hellfire Gala variants, but not actually the card I meant to buy. Then I got Fenris Wolf, and quickly got a Victor Pharaoh variant of Fenris Wolf, so it's like kind of a grittier painted one. I mean, no disrespect to the artist, but the regular image for Fenris, he looks like a wolf. The Pharaoh one is grittier, almost looks like a werewolf, and we need Chris Armstrong to explain the difference between a werewolf and a wolf. I know it involves pants, and this one doesn't have any pants on. So that's the one I've been using. I got a Pixel Electra, which convinced me to try Electra again for a few minutes and then go, no, I just can't make her work for me. I got the Morph Looking Good variant, where he's looking in the lighted mirror at himself.
I don't think I've seen that one.
So he made it into my negative Gore deck with that. I did Gold Split Hulkbuster to get closer to a full Gold Split deck for my Boosters Gold. And then I got a second Ink Split of Phastos, trying to get him gold too. Through no fault of my own, I got the Agent 13 Chibi.
Oh.
Even if I didn't have a problem with some of the Chibi variants, I've got the Alex Ross Agent 13 variant, so what am I going to do?
Nice.
Maybe if they do an Emily Van Camp autograph variant.
Oh, please. We need more autograph variants. We've been calling for that for a year now.
There you go. Got a Dan Hipp Sauron and a Dan Hipp Fury. Got a Pantheon Crystal. Then I got Gore. Got the J. Scott Campbell Lizard, I think you got last time.
It's a good card.
Got a Dan Hipp Crystal. Snap really wants me to give Crystal another try. Got King E-Tree. Got the Dan Hipp Daredevil in the old yellow and red.
Oh, yeah.
Costume.
Nice.
Ink Split U.S. Agent and Ink Split Makari.
Dang, dude.
I just got in under the wire on Conquest and got the Mike Diodato, Jane Foster, and the new X-Men Professor X.
New X-Men Professor X.
That's one where he's wearing his own yellow and black X uniform and standing up.
I don't think I've seen that one.
I'll send you an image while you're reading off.
No, I have never seen that Professor X variant.
Yeah, it's been around for a little while. That was one I was wanting of him.
And then, it's a pretty sick Jane Foster. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, usually with her, I use the Dan Hipp one, but this might knock that out.
Right.
Maybe
It's
not
pretty
knock
epic.
it out, but at least give it
It'll have some playtime. All
a
right.
break.
Right. Now, so for myself, currently at 14,829 collector level as of 12/5, I should say. So it was yesterday. 2 spotlight keys waiting to be burnt. I got the season pass. Maybe I got the season pass a little bit later than normal because I got a lot of variants before I got Surtur. Pixel Enchantress, sports variant Misty Knight where she's throwing the baseball. Stephanie Hans Gamora, which is the Gamora you were playing with when we were doing our battle. I got a baby Super Scroll, which is really cool. A Shane Davis Lizard.
Yeah.
Dan Hipp Rescue. Surtur, just like I was saying. Dan Hipp Null. An Andrea Guardino Odin, which did you get that one too?
Which one is that?
I feel like no, that was probably in the season pass because there was quite a few Guardino cards, Guardino Odin, a Guardino Thor, which I ended up getting, and then I feel like there was another, maybe Jane Foster. I didn't get it though. Andrea Guardino Odin, a Venomized Scorpion, Marco Fiella Squirrel Girl, and I feel like if
I'm familiar with that.
I'll send you that because if you haven't seen it, you're going to want it. It's probably one of the better Squirrel Girl variants I've seen out there. It's kind of tough to beat. I don't know. It's tough to beat Scotty Young because he did a Squirrel Girl variant, didn't he?
Yeah. He did the one where she's out on the tree with the squirrel.
Yeah, it's probably, I think it'd be pretty tough to beat Scotty Young, but I'll show you. Then we got Fenris Wolf.
Oh, I have seen that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that variant. I think it's probably my favorite.
Nice.
Anyway, Fenris Wolf, Andrea Guardino Thor, Chibi Colossus, big old head on Colossus's shoulders there. I got a baby Blade, Dan Hipp Stegron, which I really like for some reason. Dan Hipp's cards.
I've seen that one.
Dan Hipp's cards, they're kind of hit and miss for me, or hip and miss. And I really like the Stegron card for some reason. I think it's pretty cool. You got to see Pixel Kang tonight in the battle. I really like that Kang where he's got the gun. I think it's pretty cool. Go ahead.
I think that might call back to Avengers Forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I've got a HeroClix figure where he's got the 2 guns. That was when he took out the Timekeepers or something like that.
Then I went on a run here and got 3 new cards. Got Gwenpool, Havoc, and Gore. So I was pretty pleased with that. I was pretty pleased. Got the Mike Del Mundo Magic, which was weird. Have you seen the Magic where she's using her sword? Like everybody's got a bunch of microphones and they're pointing them at her.
That's a cover to an issue of New Mutants from a couple years ago.
Well, I was trying to figure out what the context was. What is going on here?
There was this tabloid or website called Docs that was doxing mutants and negatively portraying mutants, and she went to set them straight.
Chopped all of the microphones in half. I liked it. I thought that was pretty cool. I got the Billy Tan Hood. I got a sports variant of Orca.
No, if I'm familiar with that one.
Yeah, he's swimming. Believe it or not, he is swimming. And then
it's different from the other Orca variants.
Right. I think I got an Alex Ross Captain America. So
nice.
Yeah, I kind of dug that. We got sports variant Miles Morales, who is playing basketball.
Yeah.
And here's the other Andrea Guardino card I got. There's an Andrea Guardino Surtur. It was the variant that came with the season pass. And then we got Pixel Thing and a Marco Fiella Mystique. So it's another good looking card, just like the Magic. So anyway, there you go. Thanks a lot for joining us. Make sure to tune in tomorrow for the next installment of Snap Material.